Thank you so much, Chair. I've tried to switch on my video, but it seems you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. Okay, we are not allowed to start videos. So I'll just speak.
Thank you. Go ahead and speak.
CPA, you can actually do that.
To switch on my video, but it seems you cannot start your video because
it's okay, CPA Olik. Just go ahead and do it while they try and sort you out. Eh? All right. I think also CPA Wangeshi is having a problem unmuting and also starting her video. Let me go to CPA Kakai, who I can see he's able to unmute.
Good afternoon, council members, chairman, and the rest of members. Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be part of this launch of the guidelines, the multiple license guidelines. Mine is to wish members the very best as we get into the new phase of launching these new guidelines. Chair, I would leave it there so that members can be able to get more from us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether now CPA Olik, I think she has dropped off. CPA Wangeshi, are you able to unmute? CPA Wala? All right, okay. I think we'll try and give them an opportunity later on. So as Dr. Kalunda has said, it's actually a great opportunity where all members of ISPAC, anybody who's wishing and willing and interested and has the experience to offer certain services that falls under the definition of an accountant will have an opportunity to get a practicing license. So I'm really, really excited to be doing this under my chairmanship. I think for me, it is part of the promise that I made to members to make sure that ISPAC becomes more inclusive. There's more inclusivity in ISPAC in terms of the opportunities that are there in the market. And the market is really big. There's so many opportunities. We're talking about an economy that is worth about 10 trillion shillings. Kenya is an economy that's worth 10 trillion shillings, and therefore those opportunities are there. We just need to go out and to get them. So let me turn this over to FCPA Mokua, our vice chair, and he's also the convener of the Practitioners Development Committee. He's been working on these guidelines closely with Dr. Nebata Vutswa. Of course, we've been giving him input, and of course, the council has approved, but I think he'll be the right person to give us a little bit more detail about this. FCPA Mokua, over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My council colleagues, the CEO, together with his team. I think today I'm a very happy man. I'm a very happy member of ISPAC. I don't know if members, you can see my eyes, but I've intentionally decided.
Can you turn on your video so that we can see your eyes? We can only see the picture.
You will see. I don't want to show members tears flowing from my eyes.
All right.
It's been a long moment since last year. My committee, Practitioners Development Committee, was tasked with this very important milestone. So we have been working very hard to see that we are able to roll out these multiple licenses. So I must say I'm very grateful and greatly honored to be joining all the members from wherever you are. This could not have been possible, obviously, without the support of the council, led by FCPA Rose Maura, together with all my council colleagues. I can see CPA John Awala, CPA Philip Kakai, CPA Rispa Olik, CPA Annie Wangeshi, CPA Dr. Kalunda, CPA Dr. Leting, FCPA Shamia, FCPA Sam Okelo, and of course the project started last year, CPA Susan Oyasi. I don't know if I've forgotten anyone. Thank you so much for the support. I really can't appreciate you more. Let me not forget to appreciate the CEO, together with his team, professional services division led by Dr. CPA Nebat Avuswa. I want to thank you and your team. I cannot appreciate more CPA Rahab Tohiti. Thank you so much. CPA Cliff Nyandoro, CPA Vanis. Thank you so much. I know I've been disturbing you even during weekends to make sure that this project comes to an end. I really want to say sorry for that, but we had to do this to deliver. Let me not forget the economists who work under PPG, Hilary Onami and Elias Wakisi, whom we also work together. Finally, members, let me appreciate my members in PDC, CPA Isaac Kamau, CPA Patrick Njoroge, CPA Ken Njoroge, CPA Aaron Motari, CPA Kirwa, CPA Sabwa, CPA Wasike, FCPA Georgina, CPA Mutunga, CPA Sila, and FCPA Said Abed. Not to forget the ad hoc committee of very important members within our profession who took their time over and above their calling to make sure that this project comes to an end. FCPA Mike Mbaya, thank you so much. FCPA Mike Mugasa, thank you so much. FCPA Jim McAfee, he's an old man and all of you know him. Thank you so much for putting in the time. And of course, not to forget FCPA Andrew Tanui. Thank you so much for the work. Members, I want to open by making a few preliminaries and to guide. I've been in practice for some time now, almost 16 years. Choose an appropriate category, choose a business name, choose a partner who can add value, get and set up a good office, take a job, do it to perfection. It will also refer you to more jobs. Every CPA is a professional in his own right. We are now no longer in the regime where only external auditors are practitioners. And this is the historic moment before us. Practice does not only mean external audit, it means internal audit, financial management, public sector specialists, ETC, tax consulting, and so on and so forth. And here it is before us. The framework may not be perfect. We'll appreciate getting your feedback, and we'll be listening and see how we can make everything work. And with those few opening remarks, members, allow me to make a short presentation before you. So here we are, and I'll give you a brief overview of these licenses. Let's go to the next slide, Daktari. Or you can allow me to present, to share, because I will be able to navigate. Just allow me to share, then it will be easy for me to move. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, there we are. We are launching this multiple license regime. As Dr. Vuz will be able to tell you that the effective date of application will be from 1st of December 2020, and the licenses will be valid from 1st of January 2021. So get ready, and the historic moment is here with us. Let me move to the next slide. The background has already been given by the national chair together with the CEO. Let me not overemphasize, but give you a perspective that Section 2A of the Accountants Act gives a new definition, which includes practice in accounting, financial reporting, control systems, systems auditing, auditing itself, which previously we have been licensing only assurance, forensic accounting, financial management, public finance management, tax, financial risk, and so on and so forth.
That you put this on presentation mode.
Yes, please.
You put the slides on presentation mode.
Let me. Okay.
By just clicking, there's a click down there, like a.
Go down to the bottom where you have the the bar for increasing the size, there's a thing like that looks like an inverted Y. Just click on it at the bottom of your screen. Yes, you're there. Go to the right, or is it the left? There, right there, the Y, that one. Can you see it?
So sorry, I think I'm so excited. I cannot be able to get. Let me allow Daktari to. Let me just remove it, and Daktari will be able to continue.
It's okay. Just continue. Just continue.
Okay, so the lenses, the categories, there are 4. We have the composite lenses, which is category C, and this is the traditional lenses for those of us who have been in practice. And we decided to give them that category so that they can continue what they were doing before. The second category, which we call category A, is audit and assurance, which is performing audit and assurance. So if you wish to do audit and assurance only, then that's the category that is perfect for you. We have another category which is called tax alliances, and under category D, those who wish to do tax services and consulting, there you are. Then, of course, we have the last category, which is accounting, controls, and consulting licenses, and this is primarily is targeting public sector accountants, private sector accountants, those who are working in NPOs and NGOs, and any other who may not have been working in audit and assurance. So this is what fits you, and as we said, every CP has a right to practice, and I'm confident that this addresses many of the gaps that were there before. Therefore, that's the composite licenses, which is category A or category C, and the targeted accountants, as I've said, these are potential and existing external auditors and are auditors under the Office of the Auditor General. Category C, that's it. That's what we have. And of course, I've said the targeted accountants. Audit and assurance, of course, this is the license practitioners as currently is. And then the services under this category include performing an audit, review, and other assurance services, including issuing an auditor's report, review engagement report, opinion, or any other assurance report in accordance with ISAS, and dealing with any other matters that relate to audit and assurance practices. So there you are, but we have the details, and which we can be able to share with you once we upload all the necessary papers for members to start applying. Then we have, of course, category T, which is tax services. For those of you who specialize on tax matters only, there you are. You can be able to get that license. And I don't need to overemphasize more. Of course, the targets are those who are currently working as tax assistants, tax seniors, tax managers, tax directors, tax partners, and any retired tax officers with KRA, but of course, who must be members of ISPAC. So there you are, members. So you can be able to choose if you want to specialize in tax services. Category M, and this is where there has been a big gap, and the members have been really waiting for this, and I can't wait to have this rolled out. And we are targeting existing internal auditors, both in private and public sectors, all public sector accountants, and all employed accountants in commerce, industry, and non-profit organizations. So I'm happy to have with us here our representative from the National Treasury, CPA John Awala. Thank you so much. So you can relay the message to all accountants in the public sector that they have a right to practice, and the time is now for them to take up this very important milestone in practice for accountants in this country. The fees, we have proposed modest fees. We tried to make sure that we are very sensitive, that to our members, of course, as time goes by, we can perhaps review in future, but we decided as council that we have to be very modest in the pricing. And therefore, if you are applying for category C, which is a composite license, the application fee will be 10,000 and the annual fees will be 10,000. If you are applying for category A, the application fee will be 7,500, and thereafter you'll be required to pay a renewal fee of 7,500. Category T, 5,000, and of course renewal 5,000, and the same for category M. So members, of course, we have the farm license fees. The farm license fees are also there. This was approved at the beginning of the year. We reviewed this one downwards because of the petitions that we got from the members last year, and I'm happy to present the same to you. This was reviewed actually downwards. We brought in an element of equity in the fee structure for farms, for farm licenses. So again, this is here for you, but all these details will be in the website, and the professional services division, our licensing services team, will be able to share with you members more details if you need. That's all from me. Thank you so much, members, for listening. I'm very excited. This is an historic moment for us as a profession, and I go out perhaps with my head held high that we have been able to make this achievement. It has not been easy having meetings in the morning, in the evening, throughout the night to see that we are able to perfect these papers. But as I said, I must appreciate all those that I mentioned that were part and parcel of this very important achievement. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I can see you smiling. I'm sure you're also happy together with all the council colleagues and the membership. Asante sana, Mungu awabariki. And tutaonana next week. I want to welcome all of you to Mombasa to our annual seminar. And I'll be confident to say hi to each and every one of you as we have been able to achieve what we promised last year. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
I'm smiling, Vice Chair, because for sure we've not been working throughout the night. I know there have been some late nights and early morning meetings, but and it's not been easy just trying to brainstorm. But one of the things that I'm really excited about, and I'm hoping that my council members have been unable to unmute themselves, like CPA Wala and all that. Again, they're just a supporter of the National Treasury on this matter. I think CPA Wangeshi wanted to say hello. I don't know if you're able to do so at this point in time. CPA Wangeshi, CPA Wala. All right, I think that it's still not possible. For some reason, we're having technologies letting us down. So I think I want...
back.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you are. There you are. Please, yes, say hello. My apologies. I had forgotten that you were not able to say hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair. There isn't much really to say. I'd like by just saying good afternoon to my fellow council members, the Secretariat, and all members present during this momentous day. As I had mentioned earlier, we are all really excited that this has, come to pass. And it's my prayer and hope that all members will make use of this opportunity going forward. So yeah, mine is just to wish you all well. And yeah, let's continue working together, supporting each other to ensure that this works the way it's intended to. Asante, Chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that there are quite a number of questions, but I'd like us to allow Dr. Avutswa to actually walk us through what exactly does it mean if you're interested in applying for this license. What do you have to do? What are the rules and guidelines? I can see CPA Wangeshi, you're able to unmute yourself now?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, please go ahead before I allow CPA, Dr. Avutswa.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair and Council members, and of course, all the members who've joined this call. I think like all the Council members have said, it's indeed a great milestone. We are really, really excited. It's been a long journey, but today we celebrate the launch, and congratulations to the Vice and his committee for making this happen, of course, for the common good of the accountant. And I would just say it cheers to a bright future for the accountancy profession, and looking forward to many more opportunities for our members. Thank you very much.
I can see somebody is asking me whether BBI takes care of all these important services as categorized. Make sure that we do. If not, what do we do to ensure public-private business consume them as a compliance yearly? I guess you're meaning the cost for BBI and all that. I don't think I have an answer to that right now, but there's quite a number of questions, comments, and congratulations. But let me allow Dr. Avutswa. He has a little bit more detail that I'd like to share with you in terms of in terms of what exactly does it mean if you're interested in applying? What does it mean to all those who have actually already holding practicing licenses? What does it mean to those ones who have applied? And we have developed some transition clauses, some transition provisions that he'll walk us through, and then we can then have that discussion. So karibu sana, Dr. Vutswa. We're all keenly waiting to listen to you. Asante.
Thank you so much, Chairman, FCP Rose Maura, for the opportunity. Good afternoon, council members, our team leader, CEO, and my colleagues at the Secretariat. I want to say good afternoon. I'm also excited just to join the rest of us in the excitement. And I've said after every 40 years, something good happens. Even Jesus prayed for 40 days and 40 days, then he left. So I'll take you through the multiple licenses, which I want to say that there's great opportunity for members to practice. And this is going to make the profession a little more easy to access by the wider population in the country. It's going to strengthen the profession and also just to make sure that whatever we are doing as in the Institute is actually appreciated across the country. We have talked about the 40 years, and after 40 years, something good is happening. And I want to say that, yes, indeed, as the chair is excited, the vice and the whole council is excited, the CEO, yes, there is something new. And what is this something new? Is actually the launch. Given the Accountants Act that was there in 2018, the amendments, we can see that then we are now launching these multiple licenses. And of course, given the Section 9, subsection 3 of the Act, then allows the Institute to give out the multiple licenses. I also want to appreciate the Council for approving, considering and approving the same for members to be able to partake of them. So then we've talked about Category C, Category A, Category T, and Category M. I'll just take us through slowly each of the category. In the next 10, 15 minutes, I should be able to deliver this. So it won't take long. So just sit, relax, and listen. You can also be sharing your questions through the Q&A. We should be able to respond to them as time appropriately. So then the composite license, you would be able to apply for a composite license. And for members to apply for a composite license, we're saying that you need to do something. You need, first of all, to be a member of the Institute. So if you're not a member of the Institute, then you will not even qualify to apply for the license. Then you need to have been a member for 2 years. And you must, once you have 2 years of membership, then you can qualify. Now, for you to practice that, then you'll also require to have a practicing certificate. So you'll have a practicing certificate, and then you'll have the license. You'll need to have acquired at least 5 years full-time experience for you to qualify for the composite license. And you require to have experiences in audit and assurance, tax, accounting, control, and consulting services. And this, you can also acquire the experience on part-time basis, but in total, then you require an aggregate of 7 years. Now, as you apply, the person who is recommending you must have been in practice for a period not less than 6 years for him to give you that recommendation. You realize that this composite license is the senior-most license with a lot of responsibilities. So then you also need to have obtained an average of 40 CPD hours each year for the last 3 years, the past 3 years. And we are saying that this should be in compliance with the Institute CPD policy, which may change time to time. You also need to have had some trainings in tax, in assurance, in controls and accounting. So you're required to have those trainings, at least 2 of them. Then, of course, once you qualify, then you need to comply with the Category C requirements. Then after that, you have the license. Then every other year, you're required to renew your license. Unless you choose not to renew, then you can tell us that you don't want to practice in that particular year. That is about the composite license, Category C. Allow me to talk about just what does it mean to have the composite license. For example, if you are a foreigner, what do you need to do? So if you are a foreigner, you want to get a license, then first of all, you need to have a valid working work permit to allow you to be able to apply for that. Or you need to have a certificate of permanent residency and comply with the provisions of Section 26 of the Act. The services to be provided, I think it's important. Now this cuts across. You will be able to do advisory, you'll be able to do tax, you'll be able to do tribunal under the Tax Tribunal Act 2013. You'll also have to deal with matters that relates to on behalf of taxpayers. You'll be able to issue expert opinion in dispute involving taxes, internal control systems, auditing, including internal audit reports issued in accordance with international professional practices. You'll also be able to issue reports and the IIA framework. You'll also be able to do activities like bookkeeping, compilation, management, and cost accounting reporting. You'll also be able to do finance for public financial management, including financial risk management, reviews, and any other advisory services related thereto, including summarization and analysis of accounts, forensic accounting, financial investigation, and financial litigation support. As you do that under category C, then you need to describe your firm. You need to describe yourself as a certified public accountant, composite license offering audit and assurance, tax, accounting, controls, and consulting services. So that is for category C license. Allow me to just mention that obviously as you're doing this, there'll be what is forbidden. So you're not supposed to do something outside these regulations or requirements. Once you have that license, then you have to practice under category C license. And if you don't do that, then you'll just then have to follow the offenses, and you might be arrested if you do what is not allowed to that. As you practice, then we are saying that you need to comply with the requirements of the institute. Otherwise, then your license may be revoked. And there are reasons why a license may be revoked. And of course, upon recommendation by the disciplinary committee, the council shall revoke your license if the firm is convicted in a court of law for financial crime, if the action of the firm constitutes a breach of professional conduct or ethics, if the partner becomes incapacitated and the term of the interim manager appointed under Section 45 of the Act expires and not renewed by council, and if the firm fails to pay annual fee, license fee for that particular period for more than 12 months from the due date, or if the firm fails to comply with the application of international standards and directives issued by the council from time to time, or if the partners voluntarily wind up the firm and return their practicing certificates and the firm licenses to the institute. Allow me to talk briefly about the audit and assurance. Now, in terms of audit and assurance, we have what services that you're able to offer. Now, this license will be a standalone. It's for audit and assurance, but it will be subject to the independence provision of the International Ethics Standards Board Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants. The services to be provided by the audit and assurance licenses shall include performing an audit, review, or other assurance services, including issuing of an auditor's report, a review engagement report, opinion, or any other assurance report in accordance with the international standards, dealing with any other matter that relates to audit and assurance services. You will be prohibited under Section 30 of the Accountants Act. Then, of course, again, you'll be prohibited if a practice is not authorized under the license to practice as so. So then allow me to briefly also talk about tax. What is it that you're able to do under tax? So eligibility for application under accountant tax practice. We are saying that the applicant should have acquired at least 2 years of experience in performing taxation work on full-time basis or 4 years experience on part-time basis under the supervision of a member in good standing who has been holding a practicing certificate for a period of not less than 3 years. The applicant should have obtained an average of 40 CPD hours annually for the last 3 years and in compliance with the Institute CPD policy prior to the application of the practicing certificate. The services to be rendered by a tax practitioner shall include preparation and submission of tax returns on behalf of the taxpayer, liaison with the Kenya Revenue Authority on behalf of the taxpayer on matters relating to tax, advising and representing a taxpayer in a matter relating to tax before the commissioner or the tribunal established under the Tax Appeals Tribunal Act 2013, issuing expert opinion in dispute involving tax matters as a tax practitioner registered and admissible under these regulations, dealing with any other matter that relates to tax on behalf of a taxpayer. So you need to restrict yourself, if you have a tax license, only to tax. So you're not supposed to do any other assignments outside this license if you're holding a tax license. Obviously, you'll be prohibited again under Section 30 of the Accountants Act, just to restrict yourself to the practice of tax under the tax license. Now we have what we call the accounting, controls, and consulting license. Now this is where the majority of us probably might fall, because you want to do accounting, controls, and consulting. Now this one, we are saying that members licensed under this this particular license, of course, they shall comply with Section 28 of the Act. Now, for you to be able to apply this, you require to have been a member of the Institute on full-time basis. I mean, you need to have been a member of the Institute for the last 2 years, and also you must have obtained a required accounting, controls, and consulting practice experience as set out in the certified accountants schedules. Obviously, the applicant to this particular category of a license must perform accounting, controls, and consulting services work, which could be on full-time or on part-time. But if you are to do it, then you need to have done this at least for the last 2 years on full-time basis, or you must have done at least this on 4 years on part-time basis. Your recommender must have worked in similar area and dealing with similar activities for the past 3 years. Then you need to have obtained an average of 40 CPD hours annually for the last 3 years prior to your application. One should have attended at least 2 mandatory trainings in accounting, controls, and consulting practice. And of course, you're saying that a successful applicant shall pay an annual fee that shall be determined by council. And I'm happy that the Vice Chair has talked about it, and it is 5,000 shillings, which is non-refundable. Foreign nationals must have a valid work permit and must meet foreign accountants qualification requirements and pay the prescribed fee if they are to do this activity. The services to be offered here will include accounting, control, and consultancy. Definitely, you look at internal control auditing, including internal audit reports issued in accordance with the International Professional Practice Framework, as may be promulgated by the Institute of Internal Auditors from time to time. The accounting services, including bookkeeping, compilation, management, and cost accounting practices. Finance and public finance management, including county government financial management reports, any other advisory services related thereto, including summarization and analysis of accounts, forensic accounting, and investigation and financial litigation support. Allow me to talk briefly about transition. And in terms of transition, we're saying that if you currently hold a practicing certificate and an annual license for the year 2020, then you automatically transit to category C unless you choose otherwise. So all of them will be assumed to go to category C. Now, if you're in C, you'll be able to do category T, category M, and category A. But if you choose you don't want to, then you'll be allowed to go to whatever category you want. Now, once you are already in practice, you're in category T, or you're in category M, and you want to switch categories, then you'll make an application to the Registration and Quality Assurance Committee for consideration. The effective dates of these licenses would be 1st of January 2021 for the year 2021. However, we'll be able to open our website, we'll be able to open for applications effective 1st of December 2020. So after this launch, then members can be able and are free to apply beginning 1st of December 2020, and the licenses will be effective from 1st of January 2021. The application forms, what we're doing, we are going to post the application forms on the website on the 1st of December, the year 2020. And therefore we'll be able to provide a link that should be able to help you to apply for that. Now, just allow me to talk about the Registration and Quality Assurance Committee, which meets quarterly every year, and the dates will be set and posted on the website. So an applicant, once you go to the website, you get the applications, you make the application, and you apply. Once you've applied, and after the meeting, which meetings are going to be put on the website, within 7 days after the meeting, you should be able to get your verdict of the meeting. Actually, it's before 7 days. You should be able to get that communication. Then once you get the communication, within not less than 2 weeks, you should be able to get your certificates and your licenses issued to you. This is the link that we should be provide to members to be able to get the resources to the multiple license. These will be the forms, will be the regulations, and any other information that requires you to have before you make the application. So before coming with this, I want to mention that we did a lot of benchmarking, and the Vice has actually alluded to this. We did a lot of work just to ensure that, yes, indeed, what we are doing compares very well globally in terms of professional services. So I want to thank you so much for the opportunity, and may God bless you. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to give this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CPA Dr. Nebat Avutswa, for that detailed presentation. I can see that there is quite a number of questions in the Q&A chat, and also, or someone is saying the category is showing 75,000. No, it can never be 75,000. I think there's probably a misplaced zero somewhere there. So thank you, Dr. Avutswa, and I want to really appreciate Dr. Avutswa for the hard work that you've also put in making sure that this is a reality. Thank you, and we really appreciate it. So I think there's a number of questions. I think CEO, if you are ready, you can help us respond to this. I don't even know where to start. Maybe I'll try and start from the very top. I think there's about 38 questions in the Q&A. There's also, sorry, let me allow you to handle that, CEO. The ones that you're able to, the others we can then figure out how to pick them up. There's quite a number of questions that we want to open the forum up. We'll pick the questions from the Q&A, but then we can also see that there's also hands that have been raised. Maybe I'll kick this off even as I turn it to the CEO by a question from a CPA, George Mboro, who said, good afternoon, kindly shed light on the issue of non-practicing allowance for accountants in the public sector, and also the grading now that the launch of multiple licenses is on. So I want to respond to that question, because that is still, the issue of non-practicing allowances is still a work in progress. However, I think we have at least had a meeting of the mind, and it's something that the National Treasury is supporting us on. But we will need to get section, is it 19.2 of the Act expunged? And so there's some work still to be done on that, but it's something that we're very keen on making sure, at least I am keen on making sure that I do before my term ends in another 7 months. In terms of grading in the public sector, I don't commission that we will make sure that we need to input as ISPAC and as accountants, so that we make sure that as accountants, our positions are graded correctly and the remuneration is also set at the right level. But we will have that conversation in another 1 week or so. There'll be a series of webinars similar to this one that will talk through the Salaries and Remuneration Committee as it entails job evaluation. So let me turn, I don't know if CPA Wala is able to unmute himself. If not, let me turn it over to the CEO to help us take the questions. CEO, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe just to CPA Wala. Okay, as we wait for CPA Wala, a number of questions have come through, and one of the questions is that will ISPAC be able to restructure itself internally to support each of the different categories? I think yes, that is a fair question. We should be able to have departments within the technical unit that will be able to support each of those categories. The other question that came through is for somebody who had applied and is awaiting for the practice license. What happens? Those who have applied up to 1st of December, then will automatically be able to get the composite license under category C. But then you'll decide on from 1st December or from 1st of January, whether you'll want to continue with the same composite license or choose either of the categories TM or A, and that then will be able to transition you to the category of your choice. I think the other question that I've seen come through is being able to ensure that now as we roll out the multiple licenses, to ensure that the public out there is able to take these as mandatory services. I think that is our next rallying call, to be able to just not the rollout, but being able to ensure that the public is able to consume your services. I think is a role that we have to play as an institute and also as members of the institute to be able to sensitize, and we're going to do a sensitization of this to the members. The other question is that I applied for my practice in March 2020. What happens because I'm still waiting for the certificate? I think I've already responded to this. We'll get your composite licenses, but then you should be able to decide from 1st of January whether you want to retain the composite licenses or move to any of the categories that you'll be comfortable in practicing in. What is the difference of getting a tax practitioner license and tax agent license? For the tax agent license, yes. KRA, I know, is licensing the tax agents for purposes of filing of tax returns. It's more of complementary rather than say that we have different licenses operating at the same time, but it's an issue that we are trying to address with the KRA in terms of how then do we transition our tax practitioners to also become agents, and it becomes a seamless process between ourselves and KRA, and the engagements are ongoing. We have a technical team from KRA and from the Institute that is working on this, and we should be able to give feedback on the transition between our members and KRA for purposes of being tax agents. Yes, you can be able to get a soft copy of the slides. Somebody is asking about that, and we should be able to provide that to the membership. There's need to harmonize existing laws, especially on tax practitioners. Among the tax laws, the Accountants Act and the tax laws like Tax Procedures Act. Yes, we are aware of this. Something, as I said, the technical team from KRA and our technical team are working on this, and we should be able to give you feedback on the same. ISPAC issues the license. There's need to include mandatory annual trainings for each of the categories of license. This will ensure sharpening of specialization. That is well noted. And with this, the CPD calendar for 2021 will be able to look at those mandatory trainings for each of the categories, and will be communicated as we roll out the 2021 CPD calendar. The issue of tax license and tax agents have already been able to respond to that. The big step forward, Keep It Up I've been waiting for this for a while. What if a member is authorized by KRA as a tax agent and he'll be required to apply for T license? Yes, you will have to apply for the T license. It's not equivalent to a double registration, but it's being able to ensure that you are recognized by the institute as a professional tax practicing on tax matters. Okay, those are part of what was in the chat. I just want to look at now the question in the questions and answers box. Some of the questions that have come through. This is indeed a milestone. Thank you, Secretariat and Council members. Well, you've come from far. We have a long way to go. Need to ensure that all category services are mandatory by government. The controls and public have already responded to this. Does BBI take a, I think the chair responded to this particular question. Can us in public sectors practice outside our employment? I think CPO Wala, you'll want to respond to this.
Sorry, CEO, I missed that. Yes, just repeat the question again.
I know, it's not an ambush, but it's just being able to say that we are going to issue a license for public sector practitioners. And somebody is asking, can they be able to practice outside their employment? And I wanted you to give guidance on that.
No, as the public sector code, employment code, it prohibits working and at the same time doing something else on the side. So I think that anybody wants to do that should choose one, either to work in the public sector or go into this. That's what the regulations currently says. Thank you.
Okay. The other question is if we are going to get templates for reporting for the other categories. I know that is our role as an institute from the technical team to be able to provide the templates. They're not cast in stone, but they'll just be a guide on how to be able to carry out the practice. Is noted, and it's something that you're working on to be able to provide templates, which are just a guide, but not, we could say they're not cast in stone in being able to carry out the work of practice in the various categories. So once you get the templates that will be rolled out, those will just be guides, almost near to what you should actually be able to do. But I know as changes come in and as things unfold on a day-to-day basis, that will be updated, but it might not be as fast as it will be with the changes, but we'll always ensure that those are near all the available changes that have happened in the market. The listed services are currently being offered by various consulting, but does this mean that we'll now need, yes, you now need an ISPAC license to be able to carry out those services as envisioned in the Accountants Act number 15 of 2008. If a practitioner is interested in tax and audit services only, does this mean that they have to comply with category M? Nebert, you want to respond to this?
Yes, thank you so much, Team Leader CEO. If you were to practice under T, then you'll have a T license only. And if you are to practice under M, then you'll get an M license only. If you want to practice under T and M, then you need to have 2 licenses for T separately and for M separately. But if you want to apply for all of them, then now you go for composite license. Thank you.
Maybe looking at it is more of having a composite license and a category C, that then you're able to practice as a tax practitioner and provide audit services and any other services that you want to be able to provide. Will ISPAC charge the annual renewal fee for category C of 10,000 and again charge an annual graduated fee for the license? I think for the license is categorized in accordance with the categories. There's going to be the normal subscription fee that the member is going to pay, and also being able to pay for your license and for the firm, which have been clearly related, and the 10,000 is the annual license fee to be able to practice, and then the firm license fee. There's one to the chair. Greetings to chairman and council. What led to the decision on charging the 4 licenses at the same application and renewal fee? I don't think that is a case. And chair, will you want to?
All right. As you're saying, I don't think that's the case because I think the composite license has always been at about 10,000 shillings for practitioners. So that has been retained at that rate. And then the others have been reduced slightly. I don't know if CPA Dr. Avutso can show those rates again. The others have been reduced slightly, taking into account the fact that you're not going to be able to offer all the services. So it hasn't been the same rate. And we continue to be cognizant that the cost of doing business is high. So we also try to make sure that we're accommodating our members as well. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe Dr. Avutso, if you could just repeat the annual licensing for each of those categories. I think for category C, which is a composite license, that remains as it has always been at 10,000. For the audit and assurance category A, that is at 7,500, and then for the other 2 at tax at 5,000 shillings. And this is just the initial application fee. Once you have it, all you do is to just pay the renewal. And similarly for the final category M, it's also 5,000 shillings. So we considered this, and made sure that we had taken it into account. So I hope that answers the question that was asked. Thank you so much, CEO. Thank you, Dr. Avutswa.
There's a question that for those who can't make it to Mombasa to access through webinar a reasonable fee, that has been organized. The event next week, the 36th annual seminar, will have attendance both virtually and physically. We should be able to get back to you, Esther, on the same. I'm not sure where I get the question, Grace. What about CWorks accountant? What is the institute doing? I'm not very sure I get your question.
Sorry, what's the question, CEO?
What about CWorks accountant?
Quarks, CEO.
Oh, Quarks. I think maybe let me allow the vice chair at this juncture to just talk about some of, we've had quite some discussions around the issue of Quarks, and we're considering various options, but perhaps the vice chair can speak to that, and then back to the CEO.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I think this achievement that we have been able to realize today is to address this issue of Quarks. Some of them, unfortunately, are our members, and unfortunately, we classify them as Quarks. What we expect them to do going forward is to apply for the category, especially category M, or T, whichever they feel they are competent to do. So what we're going to do with all these licenses that we have brought is going to be sensitization, as the CEO has said, that we'll be able to educate our members and tell them, look, this is an opportunity for you to practice and get the right licenses for you, so that you are not classified as Quarks. Of course, in any regulations and guidelines, there are enforcement, and of course there are sanctions. But allow me to lobby in also Dr. Avutswa to comment, because he's in charge of Professional Services Division. Dr.
Thank you so much, Chair and Vice Chair and the CEO. Actually, what we are doing is that many of our members, they suffer because the Quarks are there, they actually get to them, and they perpetuate that kind of activity. Now we want you, if you're doing bookkeeping, you don't have to worry, just come and get your license, and then you are properly licensed. After we have issued enough licenses into the market, we'll intensify the review. So now if you have, you don't have the license, then obviously we have a very robust disciplinary process in place. We should be able to do that, and also just to do the raids. So we'll be able to intensify the raids. But this is to allow members not to hide, for people not to hide. They need to come up and get their license in the right way and offer the services to Kenyans in the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the other big challenge about Quarks is Quarks are also being facilitated by our own members. So it's a high time that as members, even as we get into this new regime, to also realize that we have a professional duty to be able to adhere to a code of ethics, and also being able to practice with highest level of integrity. We can only assure this if all of us work together between ourselves and you as members to be able to uphold this profession. But if we have situations where members are also assisting the Quarks to be able to thrive, it becomes very hard. And every time we go to any town to be able to get Quarks, by the time we reach there, the Quarks already know that you're already there, and this through the assistance of our own members. So it's a role that we need to play as an institute, but also as members ourselves, being able to uphold integrity and stick to our code of ethics.
Thank you so much, CEO. There's a question from CPA June Kivinda, who was a past, who is a past council member. And CPA Kivinda is asking, FCP Mukua, kindly expound on farm fee vis-a-vis annual subscription. I don't know if FCP Mukua, you can take that or not, if I could take it, but go ahead, FCP Mukua, and take that.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I think let me allow NEBAT to project. There is a fee structure for farm licenses. And this is what we worked on at the beginning of the year. If you remember, members, during the AGM last year, there was a petition on this particular issue, and we went back in BDC. We looked at the structure, and then we were able to come up with a revised structure which addresses any iniquities or inequalities which may have been there. We brought in what we call an element of equity and progressiveness in the fee structure. So let me allow NEBAT to share that particular slide. If you have any comment, Madam Chair, you can also proceed.
No. I was just going to say that usually, mainly as a result of the quacks as well, that's why the Institute actually started registering farms. So any organization, any farm that's practicing, that wants to practice in this market, will need to be registered with this PAC, and that's why there is a farm fee, which, as the Vice Chair has said, we have relooked at it several times and made sure that we have significantly reduced the annual registration fees for the farm. And the money that comes from that actually goes into supporting our quality assurance program, and then of course that is separate from the licensing. From one of the things that we've talked about and we're looking at doing is actually, and we normally do this, but perhaps it's also an issue of the market education, because at the beginning of every year, we will send the list of all licensed, let's say, auditors to the Capital Markets Authority, to the IRA, to SASRA, to Central Bank of Kenya, and so forth. But we find that there is still, the issue of quacks comes in, especially when people are trying to do tenders and stuff like that, and people are trying to take shortcuts and just have what they call accounts that are stamped for tendering purposes. And it's also, one of the things we're also doing is really educate the market in terms of how do they check. So for example, if you are a procurement officer, and you've received a set of financial statements that are stamped from a certain organization, we want to make sure that you can actually check on our website. And a number of people have done that and noticed that some of the persons stamping those accounts are not even registered members of the institute. But it's also educating the market that you can go to online and check on who's a licensed member. And then we also want to make sure that going forward that we actually are creating stamps that may be very difficult, for people to forge and all that. Although I do know that we always say that anything can be manufactured on Kirinyaga Road, but I hope we can get to a point where we can, get to some sort of stamps or that make it very difficult, unless now, as the CEO is saying, a practitioner is willingly giving out, their stamp to a quack, and in that case, if we find out, then you will be deregistered and so forth. But those are some of the measures that we're taking. Let me turn it over to CPA Dr. Avutswa.
Thank you, Chair. I think the figures have been projected here. So you're required to have your farm license just to allow you to have the farm. And you realize that even nowadays when you're tendering, then you require a farm license. And then the individual members will have the individual license under that particular farm. And as the Vice Chair has said, these are the figures given as per the turnover. So if your turnover, you're just starting, then the farm fee is 5,000, then progressively up to 500,000. This is just to enable members to operate with the correct licenses and certificates. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me turn it back to the CEO to continue taking questions. And I know we have about, I think there's a number of, I had seen about 4 hands that have been raised, 4 hands that are raised. Perhaps our technology team can look for those raised hands and just allow them to be able to unmute themselves and ask the questions. But CEO, back over to you. Thank you.
We'll allow them. There's a question that I also wanted the Vice to be able to provide input into it, as we also provide input. Pricing and undercutting is an issue which has not been addressed. How far is this process? Vice?
Thank you so much, CEO, for that question. Passing over to me. Members, we have also been working day and night on the remuneration order, even though Madam Chair says it's not day and night, throughout the night, but late night. We are almost at the tail end of rolling out the remuneration order. As I speak now, what we are doing is we have agreed on the model. If you remember, there was a survey which was done by InfoTrack about 1 month ago. They gave us their report, I think, on 12th of November. And we have been working also day and night, late nights, if I can use Madam Chair's words. And as late as this weekend, we have been working. And what we are doing now, we are reviewing the minimum fees framework and incorporating the results of InfoTrack into the model that was agreed. Remember, members, that the practice of accountants in this country has got the big 4, which we call Tier 1, and then we have Tier 2 firms, which are about 50 or so. And then the difference, Tier 1, they are just 5, if I can say, all 4, depending on where you put PKF. Tier 2 firms are about 50, not more than 100. They are between 50 and 70. And then the balance of about 750 firms, or thereabout, they are in Tier 3. So it was very important for us to have a consensus amongst these important players within the accountancy profession. So we had we have an ad hoc committee, which is represented by members from the Big 4, the Big 5, and we have membership from the Tier 2, and of course, membership from Tier 3. And therefore, we now have an agreed model. We are working on the framework. We'll be sharing with you this. I think Council is set to approve this within the next 2 weeks. Once this is approved, we'll be able to roll it out for members' comments. And we are working to see that we have this in place. Sorry, we have this in place as early as January or thereabout. Remember, we want to make sure within ISPAC, what is within our mandate, we finish and have the framework and the model or the remuneration order. But you are aware.
Vice Chair, I think you've muted yourself, or is it on my end?
Sorry, I think I'm back now.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sorry. So we are trying to see whether we can be able to finish within the next 1 week, and then we present this remuneration order before Council. Once we get Council's concurrence, then we shall roll out for public participation as provided by the Statutory Instruments Act. We receive the feedback from you members. Once we have this feedback, we again relook at what you have said. We incorporate into the report, and thereafter we shall be able to make the necessary communication to the regulators for approval. So that's where we are. Unless, Madam Chair, you want to add something, you can also say something on this. Thank you so much.
No, I think you've summarized it quite well. So let me just allow the CEO to continue responding to the questions that have come in through the Q&A session.
Thank you, Chair. There's a question that here, which licenses do I need to start a global export company, specifically the exporting farm products? This is more of a consultancy question. We have enough consultants here. I'll request that we channel this to our practitioners and our consultants here to be able to advise. It's one.
Is he exporting services? Not, we don't have products as practitioners. We have services. So I know, yeah.
He's exporting of farm product, so that's why it's off the discussions today.
Okay.
And I request that we channel this to one of the practitioners to be able to provide that feedback. There's an issue and I think this CPN, but you've provided it as you showed the matrix, as well as on the license fee. Does it mean that the fees have been reduced? I applied and got an invoice of 15,000. Does it mean that the license is now not based on annual revenue generated?
Thank you, CEO. What is happening for the year 2021, as you apply for your license, you'll have to fill in all the details by yourself. Once you fill in the details, the invoice then will be generated given the turnover that you've filled in. What we always do and request our members to do is to fill in the correct and actual details in terms of fees and the clients and revenues. Because every year then we have what we call the audit reviews, quality reviews that will go around the country just to ensure that, yes, the information that you gave us together with additional information is actually correct. So if you got the invoice, that is a system generated given the information provided unto us. Thank you. But the figures were reviewed downwards from last year for the farm licenses. So they were dropped by council. Thank you.
I think, thank you, CPN, but it's just to be able to add that there is a matrix, and that is based on the turnover of the farm to be able to determine what kind of fees that you're going to pay for the farm. I think the 5,000 is the first tier of that matrix based on turnover, and it's not like it's just being able to be considerate based on the type of business that you're running. If it's below 500,000, then the farm license fee will be 5,000 shillings, and it moves on to 1,075,000, 5,010,000, and 5 million to 10 million. Then is 15,000, and that cuts across as you move all the way to, if your turnover is over 500 million. Then there's a fee that is going to be paid for that particular farm. So the invoice that you receive is based on the information that you've given to the institute. I think the other question that comes in is on being able to create awareness in public. There's need to encourage competition. Can we review the restriction to advertise services? I think we can save the headaches of expenses relating to creating awareness. CP Jacob, what I learned to say is that as a profession, you are guided by a code of ethics that is issued, and it guides very well on what we need to be able to do in terms of advertising. So, and it's an international standard that is applied across the entire globe. We might not have flexibility here because then we have to comply with our international standards to be seen to be globally competitive and to be complying with global best practice. So we might have to see how to be able to what is it that we need to be able to incorporate in terms of marketing for services, but I know that must be within some specific confines as determined by our code of ethics.
I think there's a lot of misconception, CEO, around this issue of marketing, because per our guidelines, you can say that I am, let's say, Rose and Associates, and I offer these services A, B, C, D. As long as you're not saying that I offer the best audit services, I offer the cheapest audit services, you know, as long, those are the things that are prohibited. I think it's important that we actually read those guidelines as members, because you can actually, you know, tell people that you're CPA, you know, ABC and Associates, or 1, 2, 3 consulting, and these are the services that you provide, and there's nothing prohibited about that. The prohibition comes in when you start saying that you're better than so and so, or you offer the cheapest, or you know, some superlative that you might want to add. So please let us read and let us just be clear in terms of what we can do. But I would like to request then Dr. Avucho, perhaps it's an area, because there's so many questions that come in. Now we could do some FAQs and some examples and be able to share with all practitioners in terms of what kind of you know, information can they provide when trying to market their firms, because there's a minimum of information that you can provide, as long as you're not touting yourself as the cheapest or the best or the what, you know, whatever those terminologies. I think that is critical that we address that issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, for that. I know 1 week ago we had a number of audit firms advertising on the Business Daily on their services. So it's not like it's a prohibition, but there's a restriction in terms of the code on what wording you can actually be able to put on your advert. And what most firms do is that they bounce this to the institute to be able to review, and then at that particular point, they're able to share with the public. So there's no complete restriction, but it must be able to comply with our code of ethics, the code of conduct, and our marketing guideline that provides that guide, which is based basically on the code of conduct. We have employees even in auditing firms doing all these services, taxes, accounting, but are not ISPAC members. I know this is where we have a challenge, and we are live to this, that the audit firms, you also have staff within them who are providing those services outside their audit firms and not necessarily being registered with the institute. I think part of why we need to be able to cap this is by creating out these categories so that members of the institute can be able to take up this. There is the other hurdle that we need to be able to deal with now once we rolled out, is monitoring to be able to ensure compliance. And that is the area that we'll be moving into once we roll out the multiple licenses, to be able to ensure that those who are practicing are the ones who've been authorized to be able to do so. ISPAC, and I know this is now beyond the sessions for today. Can ISPAC initiate, can the Institute initiate legislation that accountants can hold more than one job? In developing country, this is a reality and we can make it happen. I know it's a conversation that we're there. For those who are in the tax summit this 2 weeks ago, is an issue that was being discussed, and one of the issues is how to be able to look at the new normal and how things will be. I know with most companies moving to working from home, there's going to be flexi hours and people are going to work within certain times. So part of the discussion was how do we then ensure that KRA is able to tap into this, and even our own laws are able to open up to be able to see, do we have provisions in the law where somebody can actually be able to have more than one job and be able to still declare that as an income to KRA, and that is admissible and be able to pay. From KRA's perspective, I know that is there in terms of any additional income that we get is going to be able to get a 30%, but we cannot be employed in two institutions at the same time. So that is some of those issues that are being discussed on how then do we open up to be able to accommodate as many people as possible who are going to go into that mode where they are able to work from home and be working in more than one institution at the same time. Another question that is unrelated to what we have today, but is I've been unemployed for some time now after redundancy, and it has been a challenge attaining the required yearly CPD. What happens to this case? Do I need to wait for another 3 years before making an application for category M? I think just to be able to respond, and you're an anonymous attendee, the anonymous attendee, the first thing you should have done was to write to the institute and explain your position in terms of redundancy of work and unable to get employment, so that then you get the waiver to CPD for the period in which you're not in employment. And that should be able to qualify you then to seek for application for that category. Is not completely an issue of insensitivity from the institute that you don't have a job, then we don't consider that period. The CPD policy recognizes that, including sickness, and the only thing that you need to do is write and show proof that you were rendered jobless and you've been that way for the time being, and that will go through our normal channel through the respective committees, and you'll have to get a communication to this that will assist you normalize your CPD position. The other question is that I see that all this requires 40 CPD hours annually. Can this be looked at and maybe made different for different categories, just like annual fees? I just like the CPD bit of it will lock us out from upcoming practitioners. I think what I need to say, and to all the members, remember that when you're practicing out there, the members expect you, or the public expect you, to be up to date with your area of expertise. And why that is insisted that even in the standards, the CPD standard, and remember that the CPD standard is an international standard, is to be able to ensure that your competence is in line with the latest global trends or local jurisdictional trends that then assist you to be able to advise the public. And remember, you're doing this in public interest. And therefore, what will be required of you is to be able to keep abreast with everything that is happening jurisdictionally and also globally. And you can only be assisted by this through the CPD program, but also being able to comply with, from an institute perspective, with the international requirements on CPD, which is a CPD standard or an education standard that must be complied with by the institute to be able to require you to have the 40 CPD hours. This is meant to be more onerous than this because the CPD standard was revised, and we need to be able to look at this based on the role that somebody is going to be able to undertake. And since you're an expert and going to provide expert advice as an expert in a given field, it will require that we have to be able to required to have some minimum continuous professional development hours that then keeps you abreast with the market and the global trend. Dear CEO, the only way to make public consume all category services will be through legislation. That is how everyone wins. Else many, it's point noted, we'll take that into consideration. We have applied for 2021 licenses. Why bring new multiple licenses in a hurry? Robert, this is not in a hurry. It's only that you remember that the licenses are only given to a few, and we have the practitioners that we have around 998. The membership is over 23,000. So we are opening up the space to the entire membership, which is more than 23,000 members, to also be able to provide their services based on their areas of expertise. So there's no hurry in this, in being able, this is something that had been planned for by council. There has been sensitization before on these multiple licenses. It's not the first time that you're doing it. It's only that today we are launching now to be able to start this from January 1, 2021. So there is no hurry in this, is only that this has been on the pipeline. We've talked about it. We've sensitized members about it. And now is about time to be able to launch this up.
Thank you, CEO, for that, because that's a really important question. This is all about opening up to our 25,000 members, such that any other member who has the ability to offer certain services can do so. I know I've seen a question about what if I've already applied for renewal of my license, and I think that has been responded to. You can either choose to keep your composite license as it is, or you can choose to, either reduce it to a certain level based on if you feel you only need audit or if you only need tax license and so forth. But if you've already applied for a renewal, you don't have to reapply again. I think Dr. Vutswa can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to give the wrong information, but then you should be able to assist you in that way, so you don't have to reapply again. But let me allow Dr. Vutswa to respond to that particular question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You are actually right. If you've already applied for a license, you don't need to reapply again. What you'll do, you'll get a composite license. And we've said that if you have made an application for a practicing certificate and it will be issued this year, you'll be given a composite license. Now, all that are in practice, all the members currently in practice, and they're applying for the license, it will come as a composite license. Going forward from 1st of January, now we'll get these other categories of licenses. So let it be clear that there's nothing wrong, it's not in a hurry. If you are a current practitioner, you'll still continue to apply the same way and get a composite license. The only thing that is going to change is your annual license now will be written a composite license. But for category T, category A, and category M will come in those particular names. Thank you.
Thank you, Sibere. I know there's another question that had come through to you in terms of that you indicated that the application fees for licenses is non-refundable. Can you then allow members to pay up these after approvals rather than at application? Maybe the quick response is that I'm sure for any other application that you do elsewhere, the application has to come in with the application fees. It's never the other way around. And I don't think we are doing outside what is the normal practice for any other application that you will be able to do, is so that when you apply for the license, then the application fee should be accompanied with. Otherwise, it will be looked at as an incomplete application.
Yes, you are very right. And our advice to members then would be, if you want to make your application, you need to be very sure which application you want to make. Look at all the rules, requirements. Make sure that you actually qualify according to your own assessment before you pay and before you make the application. So just be sure that all your application is complete before you actually pay and make the application. Thank you.
And what Dr. Abuto is not telling you is that the staff at the Institute are always there to provide you guidance. You can always call. CEO, I think there's a number of hands that are up, and I know we only have 9 minutes before this was running up to 2 p.m. Can you then just allow those participants who've raised their hands to actually ask those questions? I think one of the things we can also do, because there's still quite a number of questions, is to take all the questions and do an FAQ. The frequently asked question that we can post on our website and share with the members to respond to a number of the other questions, just in case the questions have not been asked. But please feel free to call any of us on council, management, the CEO, Dr. Vutswa, to be able to ask any questions that have not been answered. But CEO, please.
Yeah, you'll allow me just to respond to then we open up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead.
Can we then avoid SASRA and Ministry of Cooperative registration? Members, if you notice that there's a current ongoing review of the Cooperatives Act. We've put in our comments and suggestions through it started off with Senate. Eventually, this legislation is going to go to the National Assembly. So yes, we are cognizant of this, and through the amendments that are going in to be able to amend the Cooperatives Act, this will be one of the provisions that are going to have in as an amendment to our Cooperatives Act. The last one is, can a practitioner practice more than one farm? The straight answer is no. You can only be able to be in one farm, and it's just an issue of it's ethical, is unethical, sorry, and our code of practice will not be able to, code of conduct will not, and code of ethics will not be able to allow you to do this. Just because of many other issues that I don't want to go into details of this, but it seems that we need to be able to provide additional webinars in being able to sensitize members on how to be able to practice the do's and don'ts of once we get into a practice farm for our members. And from these questions, then it seems that we need additional engagement and sensitization and awareness to the membership. So I'll now take to the raised hands. I have Alice Mora, and Alice Mora, you can ask your question. Alice seems is not able to talk. Efesa, Joel. Efesa Joel. Okay, there's 12548 Kirui. 12548 Kirui. Kirui has lowered the hand. Kirui, go ahead. Kirui, you unmuted yourself. Please ask your question or a comment, place in your comment. 1254 Kirui. Alice Mora. Efesa Joel. Okay, Efesa, go ahead.
This is CPFS Joel. I wanted to ask on this. Last time I attended your meetings, it was discussed that this year noted. But until now, we have not get a good directive from maybe the chair. Madam Chair, maybe can give us a directive on the way forward.
So we didn't get your question answered.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Was asking, the last time we had I attended a meeting, we raised a query on about the scale fee that was to maybe implemented this year. And at that time, we were told that you are going to have a meeting with the Treasury and come up with the scale fee that every audit firm maybe will follow from that time until this year. But we haven't got maybe a clear indication on when it will be implemented. That is my question.
Thank you, Efesa. I'm sure you must have come in late. Council has spoken to it, to that, and I'll ask the Vice Chair. I know you had spoken on to this. You do want to give feedback again?
Thank you, CEO, and thank you, the member, investors, I don't know. Yeah, thank you so much for that question. As I responded, I said that we already tested the model. There was a research which was done by Infotrack. I don't know if they contacted you. It was very important for that research to be done, because at the ad hoc committee, which was implementing this very important task before, it was agreed that we go the research way so that we get the salary scales. From the salary scales, we feed in into an agreed formula, which we shall be sharing with the membership. We have tested the monkey, if I can call the draft from the results of Infotrack, and it's looking good. Now, it was very important for us to agree, because when we first applied in 2014 or 2015, some of our own practitioners and firms opposed the implementation of scale fees before the competition authority. So we had to go back, have consensus within the tiers in the accountants industry in this country. And I said, we have tier 1 firms, which are about 5. We have tier 2 firms, which are about 50. And the balance of about 750 to 800, they are in tier 3. So this ad hoc committee has a representation from all the tiers. So we have been discussing throughout the year, and we agreed around August, September. And then we went back, we procured a research firm. The research firm has given us their findings. We have fed these findings into the model. We have looked at the draft, how it is looking like. Now we are back to the drawing board to do the framework which can support our application before the competition authority. Unfortunately, this process has taken long, but there is no other way we could have done it. If there was a way we could have done it better, I personally, I would have been very happy. You remember, like I can give you an example, like this weekend, we had a meeting on Saturday, and then the same Saturday in the afternoon, and then on Sunday, we had a meeting on Sunday at 2 p.m. And then the other meeting went from 8 p.m.
to 11, and Madam Chair was there. So we are trying our level best. Now, this paper should be presented to Council in the next 2 weeks also. Once Council approves this paper, we shall seek simultaneously concurrence with the National Treasury and thereafter make a formal application before the Competition Authority. Remember, this is the second application, this is the second attempt we are making. But as a profession, we are in agreement, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. So nobody is going to oppose this application before the Competition Authority. And God forbid, we hope no one is going to oppose. So I think, let me leave it there. If Madam Chair, if you have anything to say, you can add. Thank you.
I mean, I think members, you can hear the, shall I say, even the passion in FCPA Mokua's, because this is something we'd have wanted done a long time ago, but unfortunately, the first time it went to Competition Authority, as you've been told, our own members actually went and opposed it at Competition Authority, and therefore it never passed. So we needed to make sure we had a consensus. And in the first round that went through, there was actually no consensus, that we had given out for public participation amongst our members. So we had to come back, and of course, with the 6-7 months or so of Corona have not also helped us so much. But at least I think at this point in time, we're confident that we have consensus amongst our members, and this issue of minimum fee guidelines, we can actually progress it. So I think that's all I want to say, given where we are and so forth. If you can allow me to stop there.
Thank you, Chair. I have Oscar Nyongesa. Oscar Nyongesa, you can ask the question.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Oscar.
I wanted CPA Oscar Nyongesa. I had a concern of the institute bargaining salaries for different accountants depending on the levels where they are. Let's say, for example, if he has done CPA Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and he's employed as an accountant, is there a way maybe the institute can come in and help, just the way in other sectors, let's say education, where those who are maybe with a degree or a diploma certificate, they are in certain job groups? Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar, CP Oscar, with that question. I think part of this question is on the ongoing current job evaluation, that is the job evaluation being carried out by SRC. I know the other part that we need to be able to deal with is a private sector, and how to be able to grade that and scale that. As the chair had said, the initial job evaluation that was carried out, and I'm speaking to the public sector, we need to be able to develop a model for the private sector and more or less match it to what is happening currently with the public sector. When the initial job evaluation was done for the public sector, the JDs that were given and the job descriptions for the various roles in the public sector spoke to more of clerical way of doing. Even the senior most was just a clerical way of being able to do our jobs. So it never portrayed ourselves as professionals. And I mean, as an institute, we want to be able to facilitate this. And as the chair alluded to that, by having a program that will be focused on the public sector in the next 1.5 weeks, that will then be able to guide through on how to be able to do the JDs for the public sector. And I know CPA Wala is here to be able to assist with the public sector professionals, so that we have a proper JD for our roles that then will be able to allow us to be placed as professionals in the public sector. I think based on this, then we can replicate this to the private sector, and also being able to have that negotiation with the relevant stakeholders that will then see being able just to be able to agree on how to deal with the issue of the placement of professionals also in the private sector. Chair, you'll want to add, or the explanation is sufficient enough?
Explanation is sufficient unless CPA Wala would want to add something, because it's something we've agreed in terms of how we will sensitize or train our members in public sector so they can appropriately respond to the SRC call for job evaluations. CPA Wala, if you're still there.
Yeah, Chairman and the CEO, yeah, that's true. Of course, SRC has announced that they're doing the third round of job evaluation. And as the Institute, as National Treasury, as SRC, we are planning in the next week or so after the annual seminar, I think, to engage you further in how you're going to do your job description that will finally determine how your salaries will be ranked. But just to talk about the public sector accountants, and to add to what the CEO has said, in the public sector accountants, they all know that at entry level, we no longer consider Section 1, we no longer consider Section 2. You must be a full CPA, you must have done the whole thing. So when you're coming in, the minimum requirement, you must be CPA-K. You can have your degrees, you cannot have those degrees, but the CPA-K in the public sector is now at the entry level. So the distinction of trying to have Section 1 being paid separately by not really applying the public sector because of that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, CPA Wala and the Chair. Maybe allow me to take the last two questions, and I'll do that by asking FCPO Hesbon, and then we'll take from June Kivinda, and those will be the last two questions we'll be taking in. The other members will allow us, because of time, you could post in your question and we'll be able to respond through feedback that we'll post on our website on all the questions that were asked and how that was responded. So
thank you. Thank you so much, CEO. And allow me, first of all, before I pose my two questions to the team, that I would like to appreciate our ISPA Council and more so the chair and the vice chair for spearheading this. It's a dream come true. And I want to echo the sentiments by the vice chairman. Those tears that were rolling down his tears are actually also rolling down our tears. This is a very good move, and I believe the entire membership will benefit. Now, my two concerns are on one, the practice license for tax practitioners. I understand the composite license for those who are already practicing covers that, but my concern would be that is it possible that our engagement with Kenya Revenue Authority ensures that going forward, we then get exempted from the normal license that they subject tax agents to, in which you have to pay 20,000. So if you can harmonize that with KRA so that they respect our license to be sufficient to this, or rather to the extent that our license applies, that would be a good thing, and we need an assurance around that. Secondly, is on certification component of our reporting for various types of licenses we have. You realize that currently under audit practice license, the opinion page is very clear at the bottom end, your position and the practice license bit that you give in an opinion page. So a user of the financial statement can easily corroborate or verify if the license is, or the person giving the opinion is authorized to do so. would it be then fair to also include this aspect of certification and come up with a standard certification for each type of opinion or decision we render or advisory we give that is uniform for purposes and ease of reference by the users of our reports? So these are the two areas that I needed to have some clarity around, or to just find out if there's something around them. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I'm very, very grateful. Congratulations, District Council. This is a welcome move. One more thing with the remuneration guidelines, and we will be good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Let me take the question from CPA June, and then we'll just be able to respond to the two and close.
Thank you, CPA Edwin. And I will reiterate what FCPA Hesbon has said. This is a team of kusema na kutenda. And my question is, I hope I'm on the same wavelength. When we look at the license for category M, will that include CPAs who do training in areas of finance management, etc.? And if that is the case, currently there was this issue whereby those who were practicing and giving audit and assurance services were required to have a business license from the counties. I don't know where that is as we speak, and then will it apply to the new categories that we are creating to give licenses? Thank you.
Thank you, Spear June. Fair questions that have come through. The first question is in relation to the harmonization of our own registration of our tax practitioners, the tax agents registration under the Tax Procedures Act. As I mentioned earlier, there's a technical team between the Institute and KRA that is looking at this. And I can say that there is consensus on this, because even the legal fraternity is also on our side, being able to look at how then do we have these two professionals being able to get into that without paying, being able to be tax agents without having to pay the 20,000, because they're already registered and controlled by basic under regulation by another entity. So those the conversation is going on. We anticipate that this should be able to come in as an amendment to the Finance Act that is going to come in for the year 2021. And that should be able to address the issues that we have, or even earlier. I know there are tax measures that are meant to be taken to Parliament sometime in December. So we hope this will be part of those amendments that will be able to address this. Sorry, I'll not want to close out on that particular aspect. Chair and Vice, if you need to be able to input onto it, please be able to hear your voice.
Thank you, CEO. I don't know that. I think you have adequately dealt with that part, but let me respond to Esbon on the UCO on the question on the unique stamp and certification. Actually, that question has come at the right time. I have a paper before us, and it will be from Professional Standards Committee. We have done a lot of benchmark, and I think Madam Chair has been very useful. She was able to get in touch with ICANN Nigeria, and we are looking around how we can be able to benchmark within the POs within East Africa and the Africa region, and see how we can be able to come up with a unique signing. Remember, in other professional accountants organizations, you sign your individual name. You don't sign for like Omolo and Company or Moku and Company or Bondru and Company for that matter. So the paper is before Professional Standards Committee. I have the draft before me, and it will go through the necessary processes. Like Nigeria, I'll tell you that they have a unique seal which members use when you are signing, and the Institute of Nigeria, ICANN, annually gives the stamps. They're like revenue stamps, where when you are certifying or making any certification or giving an opinion, then you have to engrave this seal into the stamp that is issued by by ISPAC of Nigeria, if I can call it. So, but we have had discussions around, unfortunately, our members are very sensitive because there is a cost implication on this. And therefore, we are trying to see how we can move around so that, for example, who is to pay for the seal, who is pay for the stamps, and so on and so forth. So we are having a discussion around this, and we have a draft paper, which is before Professional Standards Committee. We're trying to see how we can address this issue. But remember, again, as I said, our membership is very sensitive. There is the cost implication. Who is doing to bear this cost? Is it the ISPAC or is it the member? So we at Council, or the preliminary discussions we had with the National Chair before Professional Standards Committee, that we don't want to burden our members with any further costs. So can we work out something which does not have a cost implication to the membership? So these are the draft discussions that we have. And we'll be able to, of course, you know very well that anything that we come as a guide must come to the membership for their comments. Therefore, we'll be able to share this draft with the membership after approval with Council, and then we'll be able to share with you, and then we'll get in your comments, and then we'll see whether we can have a compromise situation on how to deal with this thing. So thank you, Esmond, for that question. Unless, Madam Chair, you want to add, I know you've been very keen trying to assist us to make sure that we address this issue.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. I think members, if you know that I'm also a practitioner, so a lot of these issues that come up, I do understand the challenges and all that, and why it's important that we have a fair playing field for all members who actually want to practice. I think you've given a good summary of what all the things we're pursuing. I think when I came into, when I was elected as chair, there are a number of things that I had promised I would look into. There's still a few more things that we're working on. For example, our revised regulations for the Institute. Those are now at the National Treasury, and we're hoping that we can get them gazetted. Remember, we've operated for 40 years with the bylaws, and this is the time we're putting in place, regulations, and also just enhancing capacity, as somebody said, with the professional services team. Additionally, there is the World Bank has reached out to us saying that they have some money that they would like to channel through with the Institute, or directly working together with the Institute to support practitioners in terms of quality, and to also help us in terms of employing young accountants so that we can reduce this issue of joblessness. There's nothing that pains me as much as when our members reach out to me and say, can you, Chair, please, I need a job, can you help me? So I think this opportunity that's coming through the World Bank to help us with the quality, help us support our practitioners and support our young people who don't have jobs are very, very important. And I'm really hoping that, I don't know how soon this is. I know I'm pushing the CEO really hard. The entire council is pushing CEO really hard to make sure that this is negotiated soon, so that we can then support our practitioners. So there's so many things that we're working on. Sometimes we don't always, publicize them, but there's a number of things that we're working on. So I'm not going to go into so many details. I think we will publish the FAQs, as the CEO has said, around this matter of the multiple licenses. We will make sure that that those forms for application are online. Please feel free to reach out to me personally. I know majority of you have my phone number, and are usually able to reach out to me directly. Do that, reach out to the CEO, reach out to council members, reach out to Dr. Avutswa and his team at the Institute when you have questions that need to be sorted out. because the Institute is a member services organization. The only reason we exist so that we can actually serve our members and of course also regulate the profession in the country. So thank you so much. I really appreciate, and I'm very, very honored to be here with you today to launch the multiple licensing regime, the first of its kind within ISPAC after 42 years of being in existence. So I wish we were together, we could, have a soda and celebrate, but I think we will celebrate as we continue to work through this. I think it's a very, very important milestone for the Institute as a whole. I think I want to turn it over back to, I think that either the Vice Chair or the CEO to be able
there's
to.
one question we've not responded to.
Is there a question I've not responded to? Okay.
Not me, not you, but there's a question that was posed on business licenses.
Okay.
And I know this is one of those areas that we've been having a back and forth with county governments, especially because if we look at Article Chapter 12, of the Constitution, it clearly defines what kind of taxes that the county governments can actually levy on the citizens. Besides that, there's a schedule that provides and excludes professional institutions or institutes from paying that tax because they're already being taxed by the institutes, which are just agents of the government also, by the fact that they're established by an act of parliament, and collecting that is presumed to have been by the Kenya government itself. There are a number of rulings that have come through the various judges in court upholding that particular principle. It's something that we continue engaging the county governments so that there's no double jeopardy, or if I have to use that particular word, on practicing firms. But yes, once you have the institute license, then you're covered not to be able to pay any other license. But I know the county governments sometimes do work on this, but we've always reached out to a legal team then who will be able to liaise with the legal side of the county governments to be able to deal with these issues. I'll not be able to say that I've given a comprehensive answer on this particular matter. It's a matter that we are still engaging on, but for now, legislatively, we are covered, but then it means to be able to have continuous engagement and agreement with the various county governments. Let's share.
Absolutely. I think if there is any practitioner who's licensed and you have a county demanding more licenses, I think it's important that you reach out directly to the Institute through Dr. Vutswa or any of us, because one will be able to take your name and your practice, and we'll be able to share all the guidelines or the cases that have been decided or ruled that you can share with them. And if they're still, giving you a difficult time, then our legal officer can actually reach out to whatever county is being difficult around this matter. So we're dealing with them on a case by case, because even despite all these rulings, you still have counties coming and demanding further licenses. So please reach out directly in those instances. I think I just want to thank you again as I turn it over to the CEO, and first of all, just to say thank you so much to the team that has worked on this, to the council, my council for being patient enough to approve all this, and to the Secretariat who has worked so hard, and to the various committees that have worked to make this a reality, and of course to members for your patience around this matter. I think, CEO, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, and just being able to appreciate, we had 854 attendants. I know that is reducing now. We are around at 550. Just to be able to thank the membership for joining in to be able to witness the launch of multiple licenses. No, we've not taken questions. I know their hands up. CP Oscar Nyongesa, CP Japheth Kamau, and Agnes Kisaka, and Ramadan Negwa. I'll ask for your indulgence. We cannot be able to take your questions right now. We are way past time. We overrun our what the program for the day. Please indicate your questions in the question and answer platform, and we should be able to respond to that and post it on our website. With this, I just will be able to thank Council that is presented here for making it possible and for approval to be able to have the multiple licenses. I know there's a lot of work that has gone through, and also being able to thank the Secretariat for being able to support the development of these particular multiple licenses and guidelines. I know we have a hurdle and some of those questions that are coming in to be able to develop the practice guides that should be able to be ready by this January 1 for the various multiple licenses to be able to take into effect. And that is what the convener and also the vice chair for the convener for PDC, Practitioners Development Committee, was also the vice chair, in being able to do that through the, in consultation with the Professional Standards Committee to come up with practice guides that are going to guide the other multiple licenses. With that, we've come to the end of our launch, and is yet another time to welcome for those who are going to be with us in the 36th annual seminar from Monday. Safe travels. For those who are not going to be with us, there's an opportunity to be able to get in through the virtual platform and being able to follow the same. Those who are not going to either be there on virtually and physically, is just being able to wish you safe stays, reminding you that we need to be able to keep to the health protocols. We need to be the voice that guides the economy when we get to the new normal, and our expertise will be needed now more than ever to be able to guide. There's an opportunity, there are many opportunities ahead, and therefore we need each and every member to be with us post this particular pandemic. Thank you very much, and I'll want to close by asking CP Eneba Tavuso to close with a word of prayer. Unless Chair, you want to add anything to it?
No, I just wanted to emphasize that let us stay safe, let us wear our masks, let us respect all the health guidelines. We've lost quite a number of our members to COVID. So I just want to emphasize that every time you're traveling or you're in meetings, and also to protect each other, let us follow all the health guidelines. It's very, very important. We do not want to lose any more of our members. Very, very important, very critical. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This has also been streamlined live on YouTube. For those who want to be able to follow up later, you can go on YouTube and be able to type in on launch of multiple licenses, and you should be able to follow that on YouTube at a later date. I know there are those who wanted us to be able to run again on the classes of multiple licenses. You have an opportunity to follow this on YouTube. Thank you very much, and I'll pass it over to CP Eneba to close with a word of prayer.
Thank you so much, CEO. Thank you, Chairman, FCPA Rose Mwaura. Thank you, Vice Chair, FCPA George Mukua, Council members and members at large. Let's bow down and believe in a word of prayer. Our gracious and everlasting Father, we come before you this afternoon with thanksgiving in our hearts. We thank you, Lord Father, for our beautiful day that you gave unto us. Thank you, Lord Father, for the opportunity that you've given unto us to serve this country as accountants. As we launch today our multiple license, Lord Father, we just pray that you bring us opportunities so that as we apply for the licenses, we have that what we can use for the licenses. And therefore, Lord Father, we just humble ourselves and say that, Lord Father, bring us the opportunities to the members and to the institute at large. King of Kings, as we live here for other activities of the day, we continue to pray that you watch over our lives, you continue to keep us safe, and you continue, Lord Father, to shower us with thy blessings. Lord Father, we submit this prayer, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, members, for the 505 members who've been with us all through.
Have a good,
and have a nice afternoon and a good weekend ahead.
Good afternoon, members, and have a good afternoon. Bye.